Good morning, Asean. Freshen up your world, your thought, and your idea with us every weekday from 7:30 to 8 a.m. I'm Patsurang Desha Puttarangsi.
And I'm Rina Jongprasid. It's Tuesday, the 30th of April.
So our top story today, Karina, concerns the latest negotiation between the BRN and Thai government.
Yes.
Of course, but yesterday, 5 proposals were made via YouTube by key leaders of Barasi Revolutionary National Coordinate, or BRN, a separatist movement based in northern Malaysia, but actually active in southern of Thailand. But then Prayut Chan-o-cha,
yes,
he came out
and made a comment saying the army chief of Thailand, Prayut Chan-o-cha, said that the proposals were somewhat unacceptable, but it was not for him to decide whether the Thai authorities should comply with them. Well, let's recap what it said in the YouTube clip. The 5 proposals that includes that Malaysia's role to be upgraded to mediator in the ongoing peace dialogue from merely facilitator, and as currently the case, and only BRN represented members take part in the process. Members of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or NGOs, observe the next round of meetings. All suspects detained for terror attacks be released and all warrants revoked, and the BRN be recognized wholly as a liberator, not a separatist organization. At yesterday's meeting attended by 10 Thai representatives, a question was posed to the BRN members about the YouTube clip, which was in violation of earlier agreements about confidentiality of the agenda or proposals. And the National Security Council Secretary General Paradon Patana Tabun said that a proposal about Malaysia's role as mediator also violated the agreements. Prayut said that he would not say publicly or officially that he would agree or disagree with the BRN proposals. The army chief repeated Thai authorities' stance that anything be done in peace dialogue or whatever policies are approved must comply with the constitution, and that that he personally never wanted to recognize criminals or murderers. The Deep South Watch, meanwhile, yesterday analyzed that the 5 proposals had put the BRN and the insurgency in an advantage by getting outside organizations involved, lifting its status as a legitimate organization, and giving greater role to Malaysia, which is a stakeholder in the matter.
From negotiation to calm the insurgency in the south of Thailand, moving on to Myanmar's strategy to actually investigate sectarian violence last year. And also a special commission now appointed by Myanmar's government has issued a list of proposals to ease tensions, including doubling the number of security forces in the region and introducing family planning programs for Muslims. An executive summary of the report said that rapid population growth among Muslims in Western Rakhine State has undermined relations between Buddhists and Muslims. Where the summary said that the segregation of the 2 communities, now a de facto reality across the state, is a temporary solution, but one that must be enforced for now. 2 outbreaks of violence between ethnic Rakhine Buddhists and Rohingya Muslims last year left nearly 200 dead and forced more than 125,000 people, mostly Muslims, from their homes. Still in Myanmar, as Bangkok Hospital is to extend to Myanmar. So listen to Kun Honorweet Thang Mi Sang. She interviewed Ralf Krewer, International Marketing Director of Bangkok Hospital in Myanmar Focus Daily.
After opening 13 representative offices throughout Myanmar, International Marketing Director of Bangkok Hospital reveals the strategies in terms of expansion of the hospital into Myanmar, as it is the biggest market for the hospital at the moment. He pointed out that knowledge transfer is one of the key points of the strategies.
Well, one of the things that you have to bear in mind is that you cannot expect people from one country traveling to Bangkok forever. You have to be prepared to also give back, which means we are very heavily engaged in what we call knowledge transfer and exchange, which can take different kinds of action. We have trained a lot of doctors, even though we are not a university hospital, but we can help with observation and certain levels of training for nurses, for medical technicians, and for doctors. Also, we have at the moment, almost every week, a team of our doctors going to meet their counterparts in the country. That might be in Yangon, in Mandalay, in Taunggyi, or in Lashio, in different cities, for a round-table discussion between experts, let's say in orthopedic surgery from Myanmar and from Thailand.
To take advantage of growing business opportunities in Myanmar, Bangkok Hospital, together with its local partner, is currently in the stage of negotiation to open the hospital in the country.
We are at the moment negotiating a contract with government and with the partner side, the private partner in Myanmar. The hospital will be in Yangon, and we're planning at the moment for a 300-bed facility in the country that also can cater to tertiary care service levels.
Okay, and when can we expect the hospital to be open?
Well, we would hope within the next 3 years, but that depends a little bit on how negotiations are going on. Land is already kind of selected, investment is ready, but now we have to conclude the contract and start building.
Looking forward to ASEAN integration in 2015, Singapore with international standard hospitals may be a big competitor in medical tourism. However, Bangkok Hospital still thinks ASEAN community in 2 years' time is an opportunity in drawing Myanmar customers.
Of course, in Singapore, the medical facilities are excellent as well. They have the knowledge, they have the technology, everything. But I know that between, for example, our hospitals here, Bangkok Hospital and particularly also Bumrungrad Hospital, I would estimate we corner between 70 to 80% of all Myanmar patients leaving the country for seeking medical treatment.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think are our advantages in terms of competing with Singapore in medical tourism, especially attracting the Myanmar customers?
I think there are several advantages. Number one, it's much closer. We have many direct flights between various cities in Myanmar and Bangkok. If you look at the associated costs of medical tourism, which is transportation, which is accommodation, food, and so on, which is considerably cheaper in Bangkok than it is in Singapore. And last but not least, and I think that's one of our cutting-edge advantages here in Thailand, is Thai people are extremely polite and hospitable, which attracts a lot of medical tourism to this country.
Bangkok Hospital partner with hotels such as Amri Residence to offer accommodation for patients in medical tourism. This year, the hospital expects a 32% growth or over 700 million baht in terms of revenue from Myanmar market. Audrey Misang reporting for Myanmar Focus Daily.
Moving on to Indonesia, is that it may raise fuel prices to the same level across all categories instead of revising them by vehicle type in a bid to curb subsidies, a presidential spokesman said. Well, the government is leaning toward a single price for subsidized fuel. Julian Aldrin Pasha told reporters today at the presidential palace. An alternative plan would require private car users to pay about 6,500 rupiah or 67 US cents per liter, while the price of motorcycles and public transport vehicles would remain at 4,500 rupiah. President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono is seeking fuel subsidy cuts to free up more funds for infrastructure and to spur expansion. The government limited the use of partially subsidized diesel in January after protests derailed plans to raise prices in 2012. Assistance must be reduced for those who can afford paying for fuel at full market price and maintained for those who can't, Indonesia has said. Enrico Tanuwijaya, a Singapore-based economist at Royal Bank of Scotland, said that the Indonesia's economy should be able to adjust to it, and the central bank may raise its benchmark rate in the third quarter. Minister of Energy and Mineral Resource Jero Waksik confirmed that Indonesians are expecting a single subsidized fuel price and are ready for it.
Raising prices in Indonesia is certainly a good news to meet the standard of fuel. But then raising the fares for the BTS riders is certainly not a good news.
Might not be a good news for
them. Yes,
them.
because new fares will take effect on the original network of the SkyTrain from June 1st. So the maximum fare raises will be from 40 to 42 baht per trip. The original network covers a combined 23.5 kilometers, Karina.
Well, these original lines are said to be stretched from, the first one is from On Nut to Monchit, and the other is from the National Stadium to Sapan Taksin, with Siam as the interchange station between the two lines.
Yeah, current fares on the original network are from between 15 to 40 baht per trip. The service fees for extended routes will be determined by the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, which is now offering free rides from Sapan Taksin to Talat Plu.
And the BTS chairman and CEO Kiri Kanjanaphat said that the fare hike is the first in 8 years, and that's for the original line, of course, and was to cope with the higher operating costs. And under the concession, the maximum fare can be raised even up to 56 baht, Kun Pasilan.
Yes. So coming up after the break for the Malaysian situation concerning the coming fifth poll. Well, some tour operators in Singapore say sales of travel packages to Malaysia for this weekend have gone down by 50%. Of course, they give reason because of the upcoming Malaysian elections on May 5th. This upcoming Sunday. Well, the destinations which have been hit hardest by the decline are Genting, Kuala Lumpur, and Penang. Well, Richard Lim, manager of operator WTS Travel in Singapore, said some travelers may want to avoid being caught in the heavy traffic into Malaysia. And also travel operator Grassland Express and Tours said the recent spate of election-related violence in Malaysia could have also affected traveling sentiments. So tour drivers now are advised not to park their vehicles near rally sites or at any other party headquarters if they are already in Malaysia.
Regarding the Malaysian upcoming elections, many overseas voters has already turned up in the Malaysian embassy in many parts of China, in Beijing, and consulates in Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Kunming, and also Hong Kong. We'll find out more from this special report by The Star.
For the first time in Malaysia's history, Malaysians cast their votes overseas for the upcoming general elections. Some 560 voters exercised their rights at the Malaysian embassy in Beijing and consulate offices in Shanghai, Guangzhou, Kunming, and Hong Kong on Sunday. Many turned up at the embassy as early as 9 a.m. to collect their ballot papers before marking and handing them back to the officers facilitating the postal voting process.
Generally, I found that quite smooth sailing, and I appreciate the fact that you have the opportunity to vote here.
Because it's quite difficult and troublesome to travel back to Malaysia just to vote, so I think this is a very good move by the government.
And I think what's important is to ensure there is transparency. When you have transparency, it's easier for people to understand the whole process. I think we'll just have to see how this goes. But the fact that it has happened for the first time, and I think it's a positive sign to move forward too.
Almost all the 121 voters at the embassy cast their votes on the spot, while a few of them brought their ballots back and have them sent to the election commissions before the polls on May 5th, as allowed under the postal voting rules. Some voters hope that the election commission will improve on details, such as ensuring privacy of the voter and telling the voter on how to mark the ballots.
就反正我们的票里面就还有一张纸是附加我们个人的身份资料那一种。我们投的票跟那个纸在一起放在信封，那是不是我们的身份跟那个投票的意向就不太保密？那个部分那边的，他应该要教人家怎么画嘛。像我这种第一次投票，我完全不知道要怎么样，我就是一种凭感觉，就是打叉这样子哦。
Okay, so. The postal voting process at the missions ended at 6 p.m. and the ballots were sent back to Malaysia on the same day.
The mobile phone market has been one of the victims of Vietnam's recent economic troubles. But a glimmer of hope has been found amid the gloom by targeting and tapping into the rising demand for used phones or second-hand ones. Well, according to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, sales of brand new mobiles have fallen dramatically since last year, with customers increasingly short of disposable income. Well, in contrast, second-hand phones are selling well in the country, and shops are now competing to best cater to this growing market. For example, a second-hand iPhone 4S can be bought for less than 9 million dong, or around $450, rather than purchasing a new one for more than 13 million dong, or $650. Well, buyers give reason that the phone is almost totally the same. No one could recognize it as an old one. Many phone stores of different sizes have been trying to attract customers by offering both new and old phones. According to Mobile World Company, it claims to sell 20 used mobiles a day in some of their shops, and has even opened a special second-hand phone store in Ho Chi Minh City to meet the demand for cheaper, locally sourced mobiles. The store's manager, Nguyen Dang Quoc Thai, said that they first started selling used products in 2005 when they observed the potential market, adding that the company is selling about 50,000 used phones each month. Well, to be competitive in this market, Mr. Thai said his customers are giving good warranty deals. He claimed that with this incentive and the company's good reputation, shoppers often prefer to shop there than at a market when they might get a cheaper price. And Thai believes that with good promotions and advertising, phone companies will soon see an upturn in their fortunes. Until then, used phones look to continue selling in increasing numbers.
The Philippine government is set to implement an agriculture-led program meant to help farmers create value-added products and develop related supply chains nationwide. Well, the allocation of 27.54 billion pesos, or $670 million for the Philippine Rural Development Program, or the PRDP, a special program of the Department of Agriculture, was approved. Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Baliskasakan said that the approved funding included 20.55 billion peso in loans from the World Bank. The Agriculture Department said in a statement that it expected the NIDA board, chaired by President Aquino, to approve the PRDP next month and to implement the program in the last quarter of 2013. The PRDP includes the construction of farm-to-market roads, irrigation facilities, and other farming-related structures. The DA said that the ICC-approved project would be implemented over 6 years as the agency's platform for inclusive growth and value chain development, and help create a climate-resilient agri-fisheries sector. It will cover 80 provinces in 16 regions. Agriculture Undersecretary Joel Rudinas said that PRDP, we want to create a chain of economic opportunities to bring farmers' produce to higher levels of the value chain and allow them to participate in the gains of value creation beyond the farm gate. The program will support priority commodities, Rudinas said, and the bulk of the population, especially in the rural areas, is still into agriculture. We need to create opportunities and generate employment in the field.
So that's it for today for Good Morning ASEAN. We'll see you again, same time, same place, same channel.
Don't forget to catch us again 7:30 to 8 a.m. on Krungthep Thurukit TV. I'm Veena Jongprasit.
And I'm Hatsurang Desha Putarang Si. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ